Hello, this is a brief comparison between two similar upright pianos, similarly priced. This is a Bosendorfer here, and there's a Steinway next to it, slightly shorter. The Bosendorfer's 130, Steinway 124 centimetres. Now the Bosendorfer is 1993, hardly used. It's got a practice pedal, middle pedal there. The Bosendorfer is not only tall, but it has significant leg room. If you're very tall, that's about the highest you get for an upright piano. Now the Steinway is almost the same leg room, so my legs are reasonably tall, but if you're 6'6" or so, I think you'd fit under both pianos, but a bit less space there under the Steinway. Now the Steinway was made in 1900, fully restored, so you wouldn't know it wasn't a new piano if you look inside. Just everything's been replaced on it, a completely new action here. You've got new hammers, dampers, so new felts, etc. New tuning pins here, tight tuning pins. When you restring a piano, you must put slightly larger ones in, unless you replace the rest plank. In this case, it's not necessary. Steinway rest planks are so good, so these are good for another 30 years or so. See here, they look like new, fully restored with original Steinway type parts. And the Bosendorfer also looks immaculate. This is only 1993, so the bass strings are slightly older, but it doesn't really make a huge difference. In fact, it's still very rich. Such a well-made piano, this Bosendorfer. A very, very rich, warm sound round here. And the Steinway, slightly different sound. Slightly less tall, so the bass strings are a little bit shorter, so not quite so rich perhaps. Compare that to this Steinway Model O Grand, sorry. Not much different. The bass strings are slightly longer on this. Model M Steinway's got the same length strings as the Bosendorfer upright. So say very rich Steinway. I'd like to make a couple more points about restored Steinways, because very often restored Steinways, we find that when we get them in, if they've been restored by somebody else, that the keys are sticking, and this is the reason. Now it's largely to do with upweight. Now on this Bosendorfer here, the down weight is round about 60 grams. If I knock the bottom of the key bed, you can see those going down. That's just about 60 grams worth of coins there. 9.5 grams is the 1 pound coin, and the 5p is 3.25, so around about 60 grams, 50 grams is correct. It's kind of like a modern upweight, a modern downweight, sorry. But if we look at the upweight, which is where we take coins off, how many do we have to take off for it to go back up? And it goes back up quite happily with 3. So that's it's going to be around about 30 grams. If I put the 5p back on, then it's just about going up with the 5p on, so it doesn't need any encouragement to come up at all. So it's less than 30 grams. The Steinway's got the same down weight, and if we encourage it by hitting the bottom of the key bed, roughly the same down weight, perhaps very slightly more. It's probably to about 51 grams, but it goes down with this. There we are. It's going down with 50 grams. But the up weight is very different. If I take the coins off, though, those two off, there's leaving 3. It's still not going to 3 there, left there. It's still not going up. Let's take another one off. And even with 2, it doesn't really want to go up. I had to really encourage it. There we are. So that's less than 20 grams up weight. Now, a low up weight feels much more controlled. It feels really nice. By the way, you measure this with the sustain pedal down. It feels really, really pleasant, and it's like a very concert grand touch, so it's really good. But it does mean that when it's first restored, it easily sticks. So the remedy for that is, well, obviously it could be sticking in the action, the hammers and so on, but it's much more likely, to be sticking on the keys. And if we take the key off, what happens is it's very often that restorers lubricate here, and lubrication goes down there, and you can actually see the colour there, discoloration. There's been sort of gets a greasy feel there. What you need to do is to, without opening this hole up, it's really important not to open the hole up at all. Really, really key that. Sorry, that's for the pun. Really, really important not to open up that hole. Instead, you put white powder through it here. I think you'll see 1 or 2 evidences of it here, and also white powder here. That's special lubrication, a bit like French chalk you get for pianos, and there's piano lubricant. Let's see if I look at this one, see if we can see any residue underneath. You can't see the white. You can see the white powder inside. At least I can. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the video. Sorry, it's not very in focus there. I can't get this in focus at all. Just have one more go. Oh, there we are, and you can start to see some white residue on the sides there. So that will free it off. So it's just finely lubricating it, not opening up the hole at all, not opening up the felt here either, which is nice and tight, not too tight, but tight enough. And then white powder lubricant will just be enough to to stop it from sticking. So then you need to check every key carefully, just to check, see if any of them might be coming up a bit later than the rest, in which case a slight stickiness. That's all been checked now, but it is a major problem we get with restored Steinways because of the very low up weight. As a comparison, this is a new 4-wick and has almost exactly the same down weight and about 30 grams, less than 30 grams up weight, so it's slightly better up weight than the Bosendorfer, but it's a brand new piano, that's why. And this new Kawai K200 just come in today. Let's have a look at the down weight on that. Again, very similar, 50 grams. And let's have a look at the up weight, taking a couple off. That's 4 on at the moment. So almost identical to the 4-wick. The Kawai and 4-wick are sort of two pianos we really recommend them, 2 new pianos that we supply. The lubricant we use on the keys is actually white talcum, and you can see it's in a container here, and it's applied with this. Now that's as I say, it's really, really important not to open up the hole in the middle of the keys. That can apply it to the hole and also to the felt above. So that's a comparison between modern Bosendorfer and the fully restored older Steinway. There is quite a difference, mainly in the touch, I would say, well, and the tone too, but the tone on both is extremely pleasant. Now the touch is something which is quite different, because the up weight of this is sort of the sense that you're being pushed up slightly by the action, and nothing wrong with it. Keyboards do that an awful lot more, digital pianos. They really push against you when you're playing them. So this one is sort of normal-ish for a piano that's just been worn in slightly. Of course, beautiful tone in both of them. More modern sound, but still very Germanic, Austrian actually in this case. But Austria and Germany, they're both extremely good piano manufacturing countries. So that's a Bosendorfer. Now here's a Steinway. It's much more like a modern concert grand, really, and you're more likely to be used to the Bosendorfer feel. So at first this might be a bit of a shock, but once you get used to it, it has more control. See, the up weight is much lower. We mentioned a problem with sticky notes on restored ones, and on actual generally, if they get moisture in them. They're a little bit more fussy. You have to look after them more carefully. But the main problem with sticky notes is usually the keys themselves. Could possibly be the hammers. In grands it's very common too, and that very often is the hammer hinge. So just watch for that as well. So both really, really special pianos. I like playing on both of them. I can't really recommend one or the other. You've got to try them. As I say, this Steinway is the less familiar, although new pianos have a very good new pianos like 4-wick and Kawai that we sell have a very similar up weight, so they do feel similar. I think really the answer is to try them out. Thank you very much for listening.